Hey guys, I am so excited about tonight's Zoom. We are going to just dive in because time is precious and we have a top leader and friend on here with us tonight, and I want to be really conscious of using her time wisely. So we're going to dive in. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from my friend Allie. I'm going to let her go ahead and share her story. And Allie, I saw you with a wine glass. I don't know if it's wine, but cheers. It's been
It's
a day.
beer. It's beer. It's like a margarita beer.
Oh, hey, that's
It's
fun.
delicious. I have a real affinity for sour beers, and I literally tucked my boys in 30 seconds ago, and I was like, "Do not get out of your bed. Do not bother me in my office."
I love
That's
it.
mom life, right? That's
Yep,
mom life.
that's right.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I am could not be more excited to be here. Alyssa, thank you so much for inviting me. So yeah, my name is Allie Antonacci. I am an ambassador from St. Louis, Missouri. I've been in the business. I just hit my 8-year anniversary earlier this month, which is it's really, really mind blowing to me because this is the longest job I've ever had. And it's the last thing. Like if 8.5 years ago you told me I'd have been here, I would have laughed in your face, told you you were out of your mind. So 8.5 years ago, obviously our life looked very, very different. I had one child, she was 2. We'd been married for like 6 years. We had gone to college. We had the jobs. We had the house, the 2 cars, the picket fence, the things, right? Like we did everything right. I was a nonprofit fundraiser. That was my life. Like I loved my career. I learned so much. I'd always gone through college saying, I just want to do something to help people. So I got a communications and business degree. I thought, I'm going to get into charity work, nonprofit, something. And I had a great job, honestly, for nonprofit, just like 8 years out of college. Like I had a really good job. I was working for a national nonprofit at a director level position. My husband was in sales. And I'll be very, very honest, we were one catastrophe away from like total devastation. My husband worked in sales, and so he was on commission. So my nonprofit job, my dream job, paid for our mortgage, our daycare, which cost the exact same amount, and our 2 car payments. And that was it. My check was completely gone. After that was my husband's check, and that was every bill, groceries, any expenses, student loans, all that. And so on a good month was great, right? We had extra money, we had date night money, and on a bad month, it went on credit cards. And we were sort of driving 90 miles an hour down the highway. Like we did not have a safety net, and our credit card balance was $10,000. So actually, it was about 9,900 and whatever, because I maxed it out by starting this business. I maxed out the credit card. I was at a moment of like, we don't have a backup plan. I've worked too hard to be here. Like there has to be more in this life. So I'd seen a friend on Facebook, not even a friend, like a girl I knew from college who like married my husband's fraternity brother, right? Like we were not close friends, but like was one of those things where we had moved and our paths started crossing. Like we started seeing each other. So I started seeing her more on my Facebook. And I was like, bless her heart. What has she gotten herself into? Like, what is this scam? What are these pictures? Those are photoshopped. Oh, poor thing. She got wrapped up in one of those pyramid things. Poor little sweet girl. But her cousin was a business owner, and I knew him actually really well. And I was like, he would never have let her get into something like that. So y'all, I never commented. I never liked. I never replied to, I'd be like, oh, sure, I'll host a party for you. Radio silence. Sure, I'll order products. I desperately wanted the results I was seeing in those results photos, but I couldn't justify, the $59 or the 3-month commitment. We just didn't have a dime to spare. But I was watching everything, y'all. So that is one of first messages. Consistency is so crucial because I watched her for 9 months. One day in April, I guess it was probably April or May, she just randomly, on just a notebook piece of paper with Sharpie said 2013 goals. And it was like, pay off minivan, give back, whatever, private preschool, it said trip to Atlantis for family of 5. So she had a family of 5 at the time. And I was like, okay, like that's a legit trip. That's a very expensive resort to go to. Like, and y'all, that was what triggered me. I was like, if she thinks she's making enough money to go to Atlantis with her family of 5, like, I don't care what she's doing. I need to be doing it too. And had she not on a whim with a Sharpie wrote on that paper, I don't know that I would be here today. So you never know what's going to connect with someone that's watching you. For me, it wasn't the, it was the idea of a vacation. You know, not everybody wants to pay off debt. Not everybody wants to quit their job. I had no intention. I did not. I would not. I was like, no, I'm going to do this. And at the time, there was a $10,000 bonus. And I told you that my card balance is $10,000. So I said, I texted her and I said, I don't really understand what you're doing, but I think I need to do it because I need $10,000. And so we met for lunch. She showed me what a printed catalog at the time. She like kind of drew a little chart. And I said, wait, all this stuff is stuff I could like go buy at Walgreens or like GNC. And she's like, yeah. I said, so if I just tell people about it, they'll buy it from me instead. And she's like, yeah, it's that easy. I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, I'm going to do every single thing you tell me to do for 90 days. And if in those 90 days, I don't earn the $10,000 bonus, I'm going to quit and you can't be mad at me. And she was like, okay, bet, let's go. Right. So then about a week in, I had done nothing. I had it posted. She's like, all right, what's your deal? And I was like, I don't know. Well, the holdup was, what's my father-in-law going to think? What's my best friend going to think? Well, custom Facebook setting, quickly blocked all those people. So we were like, oh, my family and friends won't support me. I blocked all my closest family and friends from my posts for the first 6 months. I had maybe like 400 Facebook friends when I started, a lot of which were like old coworkers, high school friends. I had left my hometown 12 years ago and hadn't seen any of them. So it's not like they were going to like jump in to support me. But the thing is, the people closest to you, they're not going to support you at first. It's that peripheral circle. It's those old coworkers. It's those old high school friends. It's that friend of a friend that you met at the party the one time that's like, okay, girl, what are you doing? Because they're not judgy enough like your close friends. They're like, okay, well, what's she got? So I finally was like, okay, fine, I'll start posting. And I did. And about 3 weeks into my business, so it was coming up this week, it was July 26th of 2013. There was a green carpet, or they were called boot camp events. Then there's like a summer conference, like a mini conference. And at that time, they did a couple of them at different cities around the country. One was going to be in St. Louis, and my enroller said, you've got to come. And I was like, no. My husband was in a golf tournament that day. I was like, I don't have a sitter. I don't. And she's like, no, you told me you would do anything. She's like, I don't care if you drop your 2-year-old off with my husband. Like, you need to come to this. I was like, okay. I was like, well, I don't have the $50 for a ticket. She's like, good thing I do. Buying your ticket. Like, she got my butt to an event no matter what. And you guys, I will tell you, and this is so funny now, I showed up in like a black, I know exactly what I was wearing. I was wearing like a black and tan striped maxi dress. And I got there and I was like, why are all these people wearing black and green and it works clothes? Like, they all know they're here for the same thing. Like, why are they identifying themselves? I was so confused. I was like, what is this crazy cult? This is insane. I sat down with my arms crossed. Like, I was not in it. You know, we say show up with your heart, show up with your mind. Nothing was open on me. I was like, what? Who are these crazy people? They were all screaming and jumping around, whatever. And slowly throughout the day, my arms uncrossed, right? I met people. I listened to stories. Your upline, Ashley Sinclair, I still I still have notes from that event, and I've never thrown them away because I look back and I have notes like her talking about going debt free and books to read and different things. And I have these notes. I was like, who is this girl? She's amazing. And I actually heard some ambassador speeches that day, which was really cool. But the thing that stuck to me was it was actually, I want to say, Cami and Denise. So Cami Pentecost and Denise Walsh were sharing the little white chair. And Alyssa, you know how little that chair is. Like, they were squeezed in it together. And maybe Mark was interviewing them. Like, this is how far back it goes. That Mark was interviewing someone. And he said, how did you know this business was for you? And Cammie said, I knew that at no point in my life did I ever want a boss or a job to tell me when I could or could not see my children. And y'all, if I tell you the ugly tears didn't start flowing, I just, that silent cry of like, it's so deep, and just the tears just, and I can feel it. Like I can feel it. Like the tears just flowed. And I looked right at my sponsor and I said, mark my words, I will be on that stage next year. And she was like, okay. And I was like, I will never forget. I don't know if you guys know who Chantel Lyons is. She was going ambassador like 3 days later. And I met her that day and I emailed her, I want to say, and said, like, how do you get on stage at conference? Like, she was like, I think they just pick people. Like, who are you? Well, I was actually a Ruby. So I ended up going Ruby that month. I don't even really know how. Like, I signed a customer and I signed I signed a lot of, not a lot. I struggled to get my first 4, but then I got like a couple more, and like I got a distributor and she actually got someone. So I did, like, honestly, when I joined, they probably knew I was going Ruby. I didn't, but I did actually go Ruby and I did it on my own. And so I went Ruby my first month, but it was like that. I left and you guys, I had belief because I had gotten to an event. I had seen Mark, I had Sydney, I had seen stories of going debt free. I had seen these nurses and teachers and moms, and they were no different than me. And I thought, well, if these freaking yahoos can do it, like someone talking about like, and I don't want to sound arrogant. They were like, it's like, oh my gosh, I dropped out of high school. I never knew I was going to do. I just wanted nail money and now I make millions. And I was like, well, shit, I'm a college graduate. Like, I've got a great job. Like, I can really do this. And y'all, I left and it was nothing more than ignorance on fire. I was so dang excited. And I will tell you guys, for at least the next year, I didn't ask a single person to be my customer. I only asked people to join my team. Probably the first 2 years of my business, I never asked people to do anything other than join my team. I would message everyone. And y'all, it's still the same message I sent today, some version of, hey, hope you're doing well. Sure, you've seen what I've been up to. I don't know what you're doing, but I think you'd be really good at this. Have you ever thought about making some extra income? Like, some version of that is the exact message I have sent for 8 years. And you guys, if I am not telling you, people could, if I could get them on the phone, they joined my team because they heard my voice. And I had such pure excitement, pure confidence. Like, I was gonna go make $1 million. I did not care if you were coming with me or not. And I saw these people on stage who had made millions. And I was like, well, if it takes me 2 years or 10 years, like, I don't care. It's going to take me 20 in my current job. So someone said, I don't know. I was like, cool. Like, I could not hang up the phone fast enough to make the next call. I was working full time. I was traveling in 3 states. I was dropping my daughter off at daycare at 6:45 in the morning. My office was in like a tall building and there was a Starbucks in the next building over. At lunch, I would bring an iPad, my 2-year-old's iPad, to work so I could go down to the Starbucks at lunch and send messages. I would go hide in the bathroom. I would take calls in stairwells. I woke up 5 minutes early to put a post on Facebook first thing of the day. Y'all, there were not team pages. There was not Zooms. There was not anybody giving me posts. I just had to I was so excited. I just told the world. I made sure a result got posted every day, and I posted why this business was so amazing every day. Now, so 60 days after that boot camp. So that next month, so it was August, I went Emerald. September, I went Diamond. November, I went Double Diamond. And that note, I knew I was going to go Double Diamond. And I came home and I told my husband, I said, so, and I mean, y'all, he hated this business. He called them voodoo witch traps. He was like, if you think this blank, blank, blank company is going to get us out of debt, you're out of your mind. I mean, we went to throws about this. Like, it was, so if you don't have a supportive spouse, I get it. He did not try a product till I was Triple Diamond. He was not supportive. And I said, I think I want to quit my job and do this. And he's like, you're out of your mind. And I said, no, because the first 6 months of this business, you guys, literally, if $402 was hit my pay portal, $402 went to that credit card balance. I did not spend a dime of this business's income until I paid off that $10,000 credit card. I will not say I was always the smartest with my money, always after that, but I was really smart that first 6 months. And so I paid that off and I said, no, I am going to. So the first 6 months, I paid off that credit card. And my husband's like, no, you're out of your mind. And I said, here, it's the busiest time of year for you. You're going to make the most money you make all year. If in 6 months this doesn't work out, I'll go find another job. I'm really good at my job. I can find another job. I promise you. And I said, but it's about to be busy season in both these businesses, and I can't do two things well. So I either need to do my job really well, or I need to do my business really well, but I will drop balls in both sides. And I was like, and I'll be a person that you don't want me to be. And he's like, I think you're out of your mind. And I was like, do you trust me? I would never do anything to hurt this family. And I said, I know you don't love this, but I need you to love me through this, because I promise I'm only doing what I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe will help this business. And he was like, okay. And I will never forget, I called my dad, because my dad had been in management and I was like, Dad, I think I'm gonna quit my job. And he was like, Allie, are you out of your mind? I was like, okay, but like I could make really, really good money. And he's like, I don't see why you wouldn't go for it. And I was like, oh, Dad, you're the best. Like my mom was like, you're crazy. My mom had never even become a customer at that point and made fun of me to her friends. So my dad was like, no, go for it. So y'all, to this day, 8 years in, my best friend, very best friend in the world, is not a customer. My mom finally became a customer, like out of kind of pity, like felt like she should. Like it was 4.5 years before a single member of my husband's family became a customer. I didn't care, you guys. That just because they didn't believe in it didn't hinder how I believed in it. So I quit my job December 13th of 2013. I've never worked in corporate America again. I put my head freaking down. And I went to conference that year. They announced a big contest called Dash at the time, which was like top 100 earners were to go to this like big retreat. I was like, oh, it was supposed to be like triples or something, like, oh, I'll never be a top 100 earner. I had no idea what that meant, right? But I was already a double. I would say my first 3 months as double, I was an under average paid double. I never even hit like a double diamond average. I was growing, I was doing the things. I was like, that's fine. I was building my husband to diamonds to be a triple diamond. And then that March, I hit triple diamond. And you guys, that between going double and going triple, I signed 3 people. I signed a lot more than 3 people. But what's crazy is between December 31st and February 2nd, I signed 3 people, which to this day are the 3 top leaders on my team. You honestly probably know all their names: Lauren Cass-Mattis, Amy Spence, and Jenny Thomier, ambassador, presidential. They're all 3 unbelievable leaders. You guys, I was double diamond. And so I had that bonus coding to me. So I was under average. I hit triple diamond. I was helping them. We were hustling. Our team was growing so fast. And suddenly I saw what exponential growth was. I saw what everybody said. I saw that compound effect. If you guys have read that book, that it's a little that turns into a little more. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like massive. It's like this snowball picks up speed and it is growing so big, so fast. You guys, all of a sudden I saw people in my E-Suite that I didn't know, and I couldn't keep track of these teams anymore. And it was so incredible. But I need you to hear me. I signed Lauren Cass-Mattis on December 31st of 2013. She was the 32nd distributor I'd signed in this business. For those first 6 months, I had built mostly my own team. I had people sign 1 or 2. Nobody was really taking off. Nobody was really doing big things. And that was fine, right? I was doing it because I knew you just got to keep going. You just got to keep asking. What if at 31, I was like, screw this, I am done. I have done this for 6 months. It was a good run, but I'm exhausted. There are 52 cards in the deck and there's only 4 aces. Here's the deal. Lauren was 8 months pregnant when I signed her. I had to go do all her launch parties, all her team's launch parties. Like it was insane. I was like, oh God, I've got to do everything for this girl. Jenny Thomier, she took 6 months to go ruby and a year to go diamond. I didn't think she was going to be my ace. Y'all, Amy Spence, she hemmed and hawed for 6 months until I posted something one night and she texted me and she goes, do you really think I'd be good at this? Will you really help me? And I said, yeah, it will really help you. And she signed up. I explained to her what a loyal customer was, and she got 13 of them the next day. And I was like, oh, okay. I went triple diamond. I suddenly saw I almost tripled my paycheck. And then I continued to grow. And on 2 days shy, I guess the end of June. So yeah, 2 days shy of my 1 year anniversary, I hit Presidential Diamond. And you guys will go back to that event, right? That green carpet event that I went to my first year. There was another one, but it was going to be down in Florida. And this is gonna be like my first like Florida green carpet. Everybody else had these summer green carpets. They're so fun. You'll stay at these hotels at the beach or whatever. And they were announcing new top leaders and stuff. And then they announced the top 100 for this retreat, this leadership retreat, right? So remember how I said, mark my words, I will be on that stage. I walked that stage as the number 56 earner in the company only a year after starting. Like I legit manifested it before I even knew what that meant. Like I claimed it, and it was such, the thing was, y'all, is that first event, I saw the income chart, right? And I was like, well, I'm here and I want to be there. And there was not a single limiting belief. Nobody had told me network marketing was stupid. Nobody had told me it was dumb. Nobody told me it couldn't be done. Nobody told me I had to be a certain kind of influencer. I just did it. Didn't have a single limiting belief. I never doubted myself because I had never seen anyone fail. I had never seen anyone succeed. Oh, except for these people on stage. And I was like, well, I don't understand. Like, I didn't know it wasn't normal to do that. To be perfectly honest, I had no idea. Then I went to this retreat, and Mark, Pam, and Mike are coming up to me like, hi, who are you? Where did you come from? And I was like, oh, hi, I'm Allie from St. Louis. Like clueless, right? 14 months in the business, I found out that day, I was the number 7 income earner in the entire company for 1 month. If you are a diamond or above, you know what cabs are, those extra bonuses that you get once you go diamond. About 80% of my paycheck was those bonuses from recruitment. Not from me recruiting, from recruiting people who recruited people who recruited people. Duplication of distributor recruitment is your number one way you're going to make money in this business. Go diamond and keep signing people. Go diamond and find the next you, and your bank account will never be the same. But it's mind-blowing how quickly it happened. My husband ended up being like, I'm going to take a few months off and figure out what I really want to do with life. It's like, great. He's still home. So there's that. And then March of 2015 is when I went ambassador. So I kept claiming it. I was supposed to happen like right after I go press. No, it took 9 months. That's a hard job. Melissa, you know, hard job. And but I did it, and now I'm still here. And what's amazing is I went ambassador with people on my team the same day. Then the next year I had other ambassadors. Then I had people who took years and they went triple, and then they went presidential. And I am so freaking blessed that I'm still actively growing my team. I have lots of orphans, different places. And then, you know, my 2.0 of me, and I keep growing that because I have layers and layers of unbelievable leadership that it's taken time to get there, but it's so worth it. And now, I mean, it's just so fun because I'm like an old grandma in this business. It's kind of great because I can just, nothing makes me happier than to like pour into team and like remind you guys that like you're limitless, and like the only thing that's holding you back is you and those limiting beliefs. And you have to go back to like when you were a little kid and thought, oh, she's jump roping, I'm going to jump rope. And you freaking worked at it till you did it, right? There was no one. Why would you ever have believed that like you couldn't? Well, I saw that income chart and like, I just didn't really understand that like you couldn't, or that people didn't. But this business is about 90% mindset and about 10% skill. Everything we do in this business is teachable. Like you don't have to be some genius, some social media genius. Like if you have like a few brain cells, I can teach you how to work this business, but you got to have a lot of belief. Okay, I went on and on. I told you, Alyssa, I just
Oh, but
ramble.
instead, I wanted all the details because you hit on a lot of really good points throughout your story. By the way, if you see a bunch of zeros in the chat, that's like our fire emoji. So that just means like people
I was wondering what that was.
they're
I
not
was
like
like,
you're lame, you're a zero. It's like we're excited, we love it, we relate to it, whatever. So that's what the zeros are. Okay, so a couple things. Your story about just seeing a piece of notebook paper with someone's goals written in Sharpie. You guys, it doesn't have to be fancy. We get so caught up in like, how do we share our story? How do we attract people into the business? First of all, we know that posting isn't everything. Posting is probably not going to bring you your next rock star, but it could bring you someone that's been watching you for a long time. You don't need to be fancy. The other thing is, like you said, when I joined and when you joined, we didn't have team pages. I think there was a page called Swag at the time. I'm not even sure what it was. It was just like Google for It Works. There was a lot of weird stuff on it. And then there was no boards app. There was no word board. There was no scripts anywhere. Like we were all just literally winging it. But I think there's such power in that. We had to figure it out. We had to mess it up and we had to fix it and we had to tweak things. And I feel like sometimes we've taken that away from people. We took away the ignorance on fire because there's so much information. So, I just want to remind you guys like all of those things are great resources, but just acting because you're out of excitement and out of gratitude is one of the best ways to attract people into your business. And then the other thing I wanted to touch it on is just you claiming that you were going to be on stage without even knowing what that meant. And I think sometimes people wait until they see it to say it or to claim it. But the problem is you'll never see it. You'll never get close enough to claim it if you don't claim it long before you can even see it. Nobody can see themselves going ambassador. Like that might be the goal, but you don't know how that's going to happen. Like nobody knows what distributors are going to work. No one knows if Lauren Casamatis is going to work or if she's going to ghost you. Like none of us know what our journey is going to look like. It's just a matter of saying, I'm going to get there and then I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I absolutely love that. I know we have a couple questions that I wanted to kind of just walk you through and get some insight from you. Some of it you may already have touched on in your story. So if we need to skip over some, we can, but obviously reflecting back on your journey, I feel like you kind of touched on what the things you did right. Like you talked to everyone about the business for 2 years. Like I feel like that's one of the greatest tips that you could give. What is something though that you wish you maybe would have done sooner for your business or different?
oh God. So that's hard. Like I dove in, but after a week or two, like I did, like I wish I had dove in day one, obviously, but my journey is my journey and I have to trust that that was the right thing. Like you said, putting it out into the universe. Um, the thing that I didn't do, you guys, that I had really barely done a day of until I went ambassador was personal development. And I'm going to be honest, I went ambassador March 28th of 2015. I was 20 weeks pregnant with my son. And I hated my business. I was burnt out. I hated it. That summer, I pulled my daughter out of daycare because she was about to have a sibling. And it was like going to be kind of our last summer with just her. And I didn't sign a single distributor or loyal for 3 months. I was so burned out. There was nothing left to develop. There was no self left. I had exhausted myself in every capacity you could imagine. I had read Beach Money. But I never saw self-development as income producing. Everyone's like, oh, you got to read books and you got to listen to, not really podcasts yet, but like, oh, you got to like listen to YouTube videos and oh, you got to this. And it was like, I did non-negotiable every single like Monday night at that time. There was like a corporate call, like with the top money earners. And so I listened to that. That was like non-negotiable. I was like, if they're earning a lot of money, I'm just gonna do exactly what they did. Because I didn't have time. So that was the best thing I did, was just like, I duplicated. You're making about a lot of money, I'm gonna do everything you do, like that kind of thing. But the thing I skipped was taking care of me. And because I was like, well, why would I read a book for 30 minutes when I could send 30 messages? Like, I didn't see the income producing side of it. I'll be honest, in my first, let's see, year and a half in the business, my first 14 months in the business, I had gained 20 pounds. I had stopped working out. I was staying up too late. I was probably drinking too much wine. I stopped doing the things for me because I was addicted to my business, and it's so good. And we used to call it rat fever. Like, you're so addicted to your business and it's so much fun. But now I can't drill in when someone starts to catch that. I cannot drill into my team fast enough. Like, non-negotiable, you still got to journal for a couple minutes a day. I need you to still listen to that podcast when you're in the car. I need you to still take a walk. Even for me, there's days where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's month end and I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you can take the dog on a 30-minute walk. You can listen to a podcast at the same time. You can get all your things done at once. But you guys, I had nothing left to take care of. And it took me, and then I had my son. So that's hard. And I'll be honest, I had been like on a big run. Like, my team had been making me a lot of money. And so then, like, I had stopped taking care of myself. I had kind of stopped some of the recruiting. So then when like some of that snowball slowed, it took a very long time to sort of like rebuild it. Well, when that son was 8 months old, I found out I was surprise pregnant with another son. So I had two boys back to back in 16 months. After my second boy, I had ended up with some pretty severe postpartum depression. I was just not myself. And I truly so I didn't even know where to start picking the pieces up after that. And I truly feel like, had I been taking care of myself, even partially, not that postpartum depression wouldn't have hit me or something like that. I don't want to minimize that in any means, but I wish I had even learned about pouring into me. And so I tell my team, I'm like, from day one, I give them a list of, different podcasts that I like and podcasts that are like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm like, you just got to pour into yourself. Because it took a really, really long time to kind of come out of that season. And in that time, there was a lot of other turmoil going on with some team and some family and different stuff. And so it really took me honestly, I went to a retreat at Ashley's house and I met Alyssa randomly. I don't know how I ended up on that invite list. I knew not a single person there. And I put my butt on a plane to Lubbock. And at that weekend, I realized oh, I am worthy of such a greater circle. And so that's it too. I wish I had really learned about the circle you were in and how that affects you earlier, because unfortunately, my enroller became extremely toxic and has since left the business, which is fine by me, but it really had a very huge effect on me. And I think I could have set the boundary and cut that off easier had I just learned to take care of myself. So that's number one. That's the worst thing I wish. And now, I mean, there's some days I spend more time on me than my business. And when I do that, my business thrives better.
It's the craziest thing that it feels not income producing, but it's the thing that almost always makes us more money because our mind's in the right place and you work differently and you lead differently and you attract differently and your circle changes when you do the development too. So good.
100%.
I feel like that was also something nobody ever talked about when we started. It wasn't, now our team that we talk about it all the time on every Zoom, how important it is. I also find that people fit into one or two categories typically in the beginning. They either do no personal development and they need it, or they do so much personal development, but they don't match the action. And obviously that's a problem too. Your mindset is 90% of the business, but you have to do the action part because you can have the best mindset ever, but if you're not taking action with that, you're also not going to make progress. Okay, so I'm excited about this next question. You guys drop a 1 in the chat if you are someone that wants to go Ruby in the next 30 to 90 days. We'll just say 30 to 90 days. I know there's some people on here. Ali, I want you to kind of speak to those people, someone that wants to go Ruby in the next 30 to 90 days-ish. If this was your team, what would you be telling these people that they need to be doing? Or what does it look like to make the decision to promote? Whatever you kind of would tell your team on these people that are saying they really want to go Ruby.
Well, I would say number one is you have to decide. You don't have to say, I kind of want to go Ruby. I mean, it would be really awesome if I went Ruby by August. I hope to get it done by September. No. When are you going Ruby? You need to make that decision right now. You need to simply make the decision. I am Ruby. I don't give a crap if you're brand new. you could go Ruby next week at month end. Like I've seen people go Ruby in like 3 hours. Okay. Like you can go Ruby if you decide to go Ruby, but stop this hemming and hawing, stop this like kind of would be really cute, would be great. No, just freaking do it. So it's like, it's if you ask somebody like, well, I mean, like, would you kind of sort of want to try a wrap? Or, oh my gosh, these wraps are unbelievable. You have to get one on your body immediately, right? Your mind is listening to you the same way your potential customer is listening to you. If you're sitting there like, oh gosh, she went Ruby, like that'd be so cool if one day I could do it. No, just do it. Just simply decide. Then I need you to get out a Ruby chart. And if you're like, oh, I boxed for Ruby. None of them are working, but they all have like 100 BB. So like if I can bring in 1800 BB, I'm Ruby. No, you're not. You're a distributor that filled some boxes. Stop it. Erase them off your chart. Extra GV is a beautiful thing. Find people who will match your effort. There are so many different strategies of stacking and this and that, and your team will teach you your strategy. I am not here to teach you that. I am here to say, find people who will want to work. Stop signing people up because they fill a box and start offering people the opportunity that could change their life. Start making it about helping them instead of filling your chart. The only time in my business ever I filled my chart was that last month going ambassador. And I will never forget having a conversation with Pam Souter, who used to be the queen of It Works. Some of you probably know her, some of you may not. She was like the original distributor, and she's been a really close mentor to me for a long time. And I said, Pam, I built this whole double diamond and it all fell apart. And she's like, well, did you build it all yourself? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And she said, well, then there was nothing really there to begin with, was there? If you do it all yourself, you'll always do it all yourself. If you find people who, sorry, I just heard like a really weird noise upstairs. I only have one kid up. I think she might have music on. If you find people who are like-minded, who have a why, you can remind them of their why and show them and teach them how they're going to reach that. Then you can work together. Then you can create community. As you create community and you're working towards a shared goal, I promise you, you'll go Ruby, Emerald, Diamond before you know it, because everybody's working on it. But when you sign those people up, you're not focused on your Ruby. You're focused on every single one of them, bringing in as many customers as possible and teaching them how to sign distributors, teaching them how to go Ruby. If you got 3 people enrolled and you're really, their why, you're building a relationship, when they get on the Zoom and look exhausted, you say, you okay? Is your baby sleeping? Do you have a long night on your night shift? Stop saying, hey, great, good to see you. Get out your chart, but be a friend. You don't have to be your best friend. You don't have to make a million hours of chit chat, but you have to have a relationship with people if you want them on your team. They're not your employee. They don't owe you a dang thing. And I promise if you treat them like an employee and all you talk about is how they are going to help your chart, they will leave you so fast because there's no skin in it. When you make it about them and teaching them, okay, awesome. Your goal is to pay off your car. Let's see how an extra $500 a month. Let's work you towards Ruby. What are you doing to send messages to get distributors? The second those 3 people are all trying to go Ruby, I promise you'll be Ruby like before you know it. Because your energy is going into them. You absolutely need to always be pouring energy into your own business, 100%. But you have to also be pouring energy into your team. I will say, and I don't know where all of you guys are in your business, that about 20% of your team is producing about 80% of the results coming from your team. So you need to make sure that 80% of your time is going to that 20%. To the point of, I used to have a chat monthly called my top 20 or I had, top 10 or something like that, because I needed them to know that I saw them as my producers and they were worthy of my time. Your team is worthy of your time. They are not a nuisance to you. You do not sign people up. You are not a recruiter. Don't recruit. You mentor, you coach, you're a friend. Y'all, you're spitting fire in these messages. I don't care if you're using scripts and you don't even know what you're saying. These people are trusting you. They're trusting you to do something to change their life. And if they then get no coaching from you, it's hurtful. Start making it about your team. If you want to go Ruby, find 3 people who want to go Ruby and teach them how to do it. And then when they were taught by you, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to duplicate it. And then you're going to be like diamond and double before you know it. But you just, the number one piece of advice to go Ruby is make it about everyone else and not yourself.
So good. I feel like too, I remember like years ago, Ashley and I had a conversation about how, we had been jaded. Like people had joined our teams and then they joined the witness protection program, or we like cannot get them to answer their phone, and they like trusted us and we tried and they, whatever. So then we got to the point where we were like, well, they're going to have to like kind of earn our time. Like, okay, if they're going to show up and work their business, then I will be their friend. And we kind of had obviously this terrible mindset about it. And those of you on here that have had people that have joined and quit, like you get it, you kind of get jaded and you're like, well, I'm going to see if they're going to work and then I'll see if I'll get on a Zoom with them. I'm going to see if they're going to do the thing. And you guys can't treat people that way. I feel like, I don't know, what's your color personality, Allie?
I'm red green.
You're not yellow? Okay. I thought you would have been red, yellow or something, but
no, I'm red green. I love me a spreadsheet.
Oh, I have a spreadsheet you would love then. I'm just saying our team's been using this pretty sweet spreadsheet this month and it's amazing.
Oh, tell me everything.
Yeah, and like, you're gonna like it because there's formulas and all the things. But so you guys can drop a 1. If you're in the group with a spreadsheet and you love it, drop a 1. She needs to know it's amazing. But I was gonna say that like I'm red. I have a lot of red leaders, so we have a lot of yellows on our team because naturally that's what we attract, right? And so it really is so crucial to build those relationships, obviously with any color personality type, but specifically because we have a team of yellows, they are going to fight for other people usually more than they're going to fight for themselves, whether that's their upline or their downline. And so building those relationships, I feel like that's why we have such a loyal team and group of leaders and group of downlines, because we're all friends too. And we started our business by being more than just their leader. So anyways, I love that you shared that. Okay, so moving right along, I know we've kept you for a long time tonight, so I'll try to wrap it up.
My boy, I haven't heard a single pitter patter, and my daughter's old now. She's watching a movie. That was the noise I heard, actually. I think she turned the movie on.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's talk about, I know you mentioned there were seasons in your business that you were burnt out, you felt stuck. You already kind of touched on some things that maybe you did to get out of it as far as like upgrading your circle. Is there any specific other things that you can think of, personal development, like specific books, or was it journaling that you did to kind of get out of that place of feeling stuck?
The book that really changed everything for me was 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins. So good. If you've never read it, I was just in such a dark season. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I even believed. I believed in this business. I wanted to believe in this business, but I just was just in a dark place. And I was pregnant and tired and all the things, right? So I just had to like change things. So that book was really a game changer for me. I started getting up early to work, getting up before my kids, taking control of my day instead of my day controlling me. And at the end of the day, y'all, action is going to create motivation. I was not motivated. But my thing was, my check was dropping and dropping and dropping. And it was like, okay, well, like we're either going back to work or like we're changing things. And I simply had to make the decision that I was worthy of doing it again. And there was no reason I couldn't get back to the top. And I just had to decide that forward was a pace. That's one of my favorite quotes, is forward is a pace. It does not matter if you are freaking crawling with all of your blood, sweat, and tears just to move an inch. You're moving forward. There are times in this business where I am freaking sprinting a marathon with ease. And there are times when it takes every ounce of my being to send a Facebook message, even today. So that was a big thing. And I actually have the quote right above my office door, right in front of me, that just says decide and move forward. And then I also have a picture right above my door that is just like the skyline from Wizard of Oz. You can see the Emerald City really, really far, and you just see the yellow brick road and like the four silhouettes, right? And so actually during that season, I invested in a life coach. So I am a huge proponent of therapy, and especially doing therapy before you think you need it. Like therapy is a proactive thing. So I spent a lot of money on an unbelievable life coach who I'm still very close with today. He's incredible. And we talked about simply deciding where you're going. And you don't have to understand the how, you don't have to understand the path, you don't have to understand who will be there with you, but you just have to be able to see it. Like the Emerald City, they knew that's where they needed to get, and they knew they had to follow the yellow brick road, right? They had no idea it was going to take them through forests and run into different people, and they'd hit a dead end and have to turn around, but they knew they had to continue to move forward on that yellow brick road. And so for me, my Emerald City is, and this is what I write into my journal every single day, I am 100% debt-free, living in my fully renovated dream home. Okay, we bought this house 3 years ago, y'all, and it has pink carpet and brass fixtures, and I'm gonna make it my dream house someday, but it's old, and like little by little, we're doing it, but we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it out of cash, and unfortunately, that's just gonna take a few more years. Like I'm not gonna rush my dream, but I just had to simply make some of those decisions. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. I'm like looking over at my, so another book that really got me, and it's actually not like a personal development book, but it's Capital Gains, which is the autobiography by Chip Gaines. From like Magnolia, Chip Gaines, like Chip and Johanna. That if you all haven't read that book, oh my God, it's so good. Like I read it in just a few days. It is an unbelievable book. But y'all, he started from nothing. And like and he talks about all the ways they screwed up and how many times he almost lost everything from them by taking a chance, and how they picked up the pieces and how broke they were. And it's funny. Listening to it's great too, but I physically read it. But that was a book that really, it was like he just knew where he was going, and he knew he was worth something incredible, and his wife and his family were worth all the late nights, all the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it talks about him like flipping like 3 houses at a time, and him like not sleeping for days to get it done. And like that's where it came down to for me, was like, okay, if I need to do something, like I just have to do something I don't want to do. And for that time it was message. And sometimes you just have to like start sending the messages. You don't want to, it's a robotic activity, but I promise you that taking that action is going to breed activity, right? You take the action, you send the messages. What's happening? Well, then you're going to start getting my messages back. Well, then that activity is going to breed motivation. It's like a cycle. And then when you're motivated, you're going to take a lot more action, right? So it's action, activity, motivation. Motivation will not come first, and it never will come first. And so if you are waiting to get motivated, you're going to be waiting a long time, sister. Like you have to simply take the action, and that's why you have to listen to your leaders. Like we have screwed up all of the things, and we're just trying to tell you how to do it in an easier way. It's just taking the action. And so then probably by like, I guess 2018 is when I was like, oh, what is this host to post thing people are doing? Maybe it's 2019. I don't remember when that started. And I was like, this is transactional. I don't work my business this way. I don't do this. Well, it was like February 25th, and I had signed 1 customer all month. And I was like, whatever, I'm going to try this stupid cleanse host to post thing. And I signed 8 customers in a day. And I was like, huh, okay. You have to be fluid. You guys, if I worked my business today like I worked it 8 years ago, I'd be dead in the water. But you also have to listen. So somewhere in that like season of like, I didn't really like my business, I was like, Instagram, Jade Hooper is crushing it. I am doing the gram. I spun my ears for a freaking year trying to spun my wheels for a year, trying to put all my energy into Instagram. But I was like ignoring my bread and butter. Facebook is still my bread and butter. Do I post on Instagram? Yes, absolutely. Have I gotten customers from there? For sure. But it gets maybe 5% of my time because Facebook is producing. Facebook, until you are getting so many customers and distributors from one thing that you're like, it's just this easy, robotic, whatever. Like, why are you trying other things? Like I did it to myself a little bit last year with TikTok. Now I can do some TikToks for fun, but I'm not depending on it. So like you got to take your action. It's going to breed your activity. You got to get motivation. And as you're doing that, figure out your sweet spot and stay there. And just because like Ashley's the funniest human in the world on TikTok and like Alyssa kills it on Instagram, like if host to post is your jam, do it. Right? Like do the things that work for you best. Not saying you shouldn't have a presence everywhere, but like if you've got a bread and butter, use it. Sorry, I went all over from
No,
that
it was
question.
good. I was taking notes, so I had myself muted. I think it's Tony Robbins that says motion creates emotion, and it's like send the message, then you feel motivated. And it's so, and I literally had the same day today. I told Tyler, I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I really just don't want to like, all I need to do is send out some post to post messages and I just don't want to for whatever reason. And so, you know what I did? I just picked a name. Like today I did Angela and Andrea, and I sent those, anyone on my Facebook list that had that name, they got a host to post request if they're obviously not a distributor or something. And that was it. I was like, however many there are, that's how many people I'm messaging, and I'm going to be proud of myself and I'm just going to do it. And then 5-second rule, I was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to knock out the messages. And for me, it was just I have 100 other things on my to-do list right now, and I don't want to do this, but I know it's the most important thing, so I'm going to do it. And I think sometimes what happens is we leave those things till the end of the day. Guess what? If you don't want to do them first thing in the morning, you're also not going to want to do them at 9 p.m. So just do them in the morning, so that way you can at least feel good all day long and you can win the day, because then you're able to just respond throughout the day instead of thinking about what you should have done in the morning. So love it. And then spending time focusing on like what's working best for you, like your bread and butter. And just to go along with that, you guys, I built most of my business like through parties and through Facebook originally. When Instagram became a thing, because for those of you that don't know this, Instagram hasn't always been around. When it became a thing, I still spent like 80% of my time on Facebook because that's where I was enrolling. But I took a little bit of time every single day to grow my following on Instagram. I didn't really send out messages. I didn't really post about the products, to be honest, over there. I just started building a following over there and getting familiar with the app. And so that by the time that I kind of got burnt out of Facebook, Instagram was ready for me because I already had I wasn't starting from scratch. There was already stuff there, and Instagram was what helped me go from triple to pres. And so you guys never know, like, don't put your hand in like 27 different things, but pick another thing that might interest you, whether it's Pinterest or Twitter or whatever, and just start to learn a little bit and just do a little bit over there. And then one day it'll be ready for you, and you might get, someone might start killing it and you want to do that. And then at least you have a platform. So, okay, one last question and I'll let you go. So obviously everyone's goal is always to like grow their organization because that's what helps us go Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, and beyond, that duplication process. So what is one or two of like your favorite tips for recruiting, or what is something that's really working for your team right now that you are excited about? And you can leave us with that.
So the number one thing that's probably growing our team, well, first is we teach people that your Facebook page is your brand. You have to be posting every single day. And it's like running a commercial. The advertisers don't know who's watching their commercial. So I don't care if you get 0 likes and 0 comments on every post, you have to do it. because then you're going to do host to post. And the first thing someone's going to do when you message them is they're going to go look at your profile, and they need to know what you're about. And they need it to not be a page full of random spammy shared stuff. They need to see your face every day. They need to see results. They need to see products. They need to see your story. Not like all day, every day. Like there can be other things in there too. But we are huge host to post. We are a huge host to post team. And every single person that hosts to post for me, once they put it up, I say, thank you so much. I'm going to get you entered right away. And then sometimes right away, but within the next 24 hours, they get a message that says, side note, have you ever thought about doing what I do? Just glance at your profile and I think you'd be great at it. Every single person. And you guys, I cannot tell you how I think that's probably how I've signed almost every distributor this year so far. I've planted the seed there.
I love
Okay.
it.
And then they're like, oh, I don't know. And then they get 47 comments on their host post. And I'm like, I'm about to start responding to these people. They can be my customers or they can be yours. I just wanted to give you another chance. Host to post is not, so this is the other thing. Host to post is not about the transaction. Host to post is not about, you post about a cleanse, I talk to the person, I sign the person. That happens sometimes and that's great, but that's the last thing host to post is about. Host to post is a lead funnel. Host to post is a network building tool. Host to post is a way for for you to make hundreds, if not thousands of friends a month. So our team, the first half to 2/3 of the month, we do nothing but giveaway posts. Nobody posts about gummies. Nobody posts about cleanse. They just post about our giveaway. And almost all of them get like 40, 50 responses. I'm not sitting there friend requesting, checking back, blah, blah, blah. I reply to every one of those comments saying, please add me and DM me the word giveaway, and I'll confirm your entry right away. You want to know what happens when I go to my spam folder? There's about 50 friends that say giveaway that I'm going to then accept the friend request. Y'all, you can, if you want new friends, that's your go-to. So then all those people have gone and scoped out your page. So it's a lead generator. Those people are interested in your giveaway. They're engaged in having a conversation with you. In 2020, I looked back at every distributor I signed. Host to post is not a transaction, right? But you plant the seed. They're watching you. They've become engaged in what you do. 70% of my distributors I signed in 2020, I had added as a friend in 2019 from a host to post. 70%. That's freaking insane, y'all. Why aren't you doing host to post every day? Because you're not disciplined. Because you're lazy. Because you don't want to, sorry, it's kind of mean. But like, seriously, I was lazy today and that's okay. Like literally, I got my hair done for 3 hours today and never sent a single host to post message because I was really too busy chit chatting. And that's fine too. But y'all, I'm like leaving for my leadership retreat on Saturday. Like my husband's out of town. I've got 3 kids. Like my list is a mile long to do. And I simply have to say tomorrow morning, I'll be up at 6 a.m. and I will do nothing for 30 minutes. I'll do my journaling, get my head right for the day. And then I'm going to just send out hat messages. Because y'all, I'm going to be at a leadership retreat in Arizona for the next 5 days. I am going to make sure I have good content and I'm going to do host post. And like, that's going to keep my inbox full and that's going to be sending me right into month end, right? So that's the biggest thing as we are, and you gotta just ask people every day. Y'all send people cold messages every day that says, hey, how are you? Not sure if you've seen what I've been doing. I think you'd be really great at it. Have you ever thought about earning extra income? I try to send at least 5 of those every day. I'd be shocked at how many people are like, yeah, what do you do? I always see you post. What do you do?
Yep. It's crazy.
People can only say yes to a question they are asked. No one can join your team unless you ask them. Don't assume they know. Don't assume that they're going to DM you off your post. You have to ask them outright. Do you want to do this with me? If they say no, be like, no problem, girl. We're doing this great giveaway. Do you want a free entry? Like, no skin off your back if they say no.
So you're offering them a gift. So
are.
literally a gift. That was so good. I appreciate it. And I've in a couple of my chats and even on a couple of Zooms, I've asked my team, like, if you could only do one thing in a day that would make you feel so insanely good and proud and just like on the right track for your business, what would it be? And the answer is always host to post. Like, people always say, man, if I got 10 host to post up, I would feel really freaking good. But then they spend half the day figuring out what to post on their page and what to put in their story. And they think about doing host to post and they think about who might host a post for them. And then they scroll and they like and they engage and they wish happy birthdays and they don't get the host to post up. But what's crazy is that you could spend 30 minutes sending out the host to post message, and not that you should skip those other things. All of these pieces of the puzzle work together. And the more you want to do it all. But if you just did that one thing most days, you would see progress in your business instead of prioritizing all the other things and then sometimes not getting to the host to post. It's just crazy. It's like this business has never been more simple. I can't believe we built this business for so many years without doing something like host to post. You guys realize that we used to not do this. Like, it blows my mind that we have this and that people still choose to not take advantage of it. Like you said, it is the biggest referral system, lead generator that you could possibly have your hands on. So anyways, we kept you forever, but we appreciate you for staying on with your husband out of town and your kids home and all of that. So we just appreciate you so much. That was so perfect. You touched on all the things that I think a lot of people needed to hear on here, and I miss your face, and I hope we'll get to be at
someday
in person.
Someday we will all be together again. I am so ready for it. So thank you guys so much for having me. This was just, it fills my cup up as much as I hope it fills yours. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.